Today we begin the book of Numbers, chapters 1 through 4. I will read key passages and I encourage you to read the full chapters on your own. The full reading reference is provided for you below. As we transition into Numbers, it helps to remember where we have come from. In Genesis, we saw the beginnings, creation, human rebellion, the flood, Abraham's covenant, Joseph preserving the family line. Genesis revealed the foundation of God's covenant plan. Then in Exodus, God delivered Israel from Egypt through power, blood, and covenant. The Passover lamb, the Red Sea, the giving of the law, the tabernacle. God did not simply rescue his people from slavery. He came to dwell among them. Then in Leviticus, God taught Israel how a holy people live near a holy God. Sacrifice, atonement, holiness, purity, worship. Leviticus closed with both blessing and warning. Obedience brings life. Rebellion brings destruction. Now we come to Numbers. The Hebrew title is connected to the wilderness because the book is not mainly about mathematics. It is about a people learning whether they will trust God in the wilderness. And the wilderness reveals what is truly inside people. Numbers 1 talks about the census preparation for warfare. 1 and 1, God speaks from the tent of meeting in the wilderness of Sinai. The tabernacle is now standing. God is among his people. 1 and 2, God commands Moses to take a census. But notice carefully, this is not just population counting. This is preparation. Numbers 1 and 3, all the men in Israel 20 years old or more who are able to serve in the army. Israel is being organized for movement and war. Why? Because deliverance from Egypt is not the end. There are still battles ahead. The promised land has not yet been possessed. This becomes a spiritual pattern throughout Scripture. Redemption is followed by transformation and warfare. Ephesians 6, believers are also described as engaging in spiritual warfare. Then the tribes are counted one by one. God knows every tribe, every family, every name. No one is lost in the crowd. 1:47 and 53, the tribe of Levi is separated from military service. Why is that? Because their assignment is different. They are responsible for the tabernacle and the things of God. This reveals something important. Not every calling looks the same. Some fight physically, some guard spiritually, but every role matters. Numbers 1 and 53, the Levites camp around the tabernacle as protection. The presence of God remains central. Numbers 2, God at the center in Numbers 2. God arranges the entire camp. Y'all, nothing is random. Every tribe is placed intentionally. The east, the west, the north, and the south. And at the center, the tabernacle. Yeah, God is literally in the middle of the nation. This is one of the deepest pictures in the wilderness journey. Israel's identity, movement, and structure were meant to revolve around God's presence. Not politics, not personality, not military strength, his presence. When the cloud moved by day, they moved. When the cloud stopped, they stopped. The positioning of the tribes also reveals order, accountability, and covering. God is not the author of confusion. And spiritually, this still matters. What sits at the center of a life eventually governs that life. Now we move to Numbers 3, the Levites chosen. God formally sets apart the Levites. 3, 2, and 4. Nadab and Abihu are mentioned again. The sons of Aaron who offered unauthorized fire in Leviticus 10. Even here, God reminds Israel his holiness is not changed. Then God says in Numbers 3 and 12, I have taken the Levites from among the Israelites in place of the firstborn. Why the firstborn? Because after Passover in Egypt, every firstborn belonged to God. The blood of the lamb spared them. Now the Levites symbolically stand in their place for service. This points back to Exodus and forward to substitution throughout Scripture. Then the Levites are divided into responsibilities. Some carry the curtain, some carry the furnitures, sacred objects. No one handles holy things carelessly. 3 and 38, Moses, Aaron, and the priests camp on the east side, guarding the sanctuary. Access to God still requires reverence. Numbers 4, carrying holy things, goes in even deeper into priestly responsibilities. The Kohathites are assigned to carry the holiest objects, the ark, the lampstand, the altar, the sacred utensils. But in Numbers 4 and 15, God warns they must not touch the holy things or they will die. Why such seriousness? Because holiness is not symbolic only. God's presence is real, y'all, and fallen humanity cannot casually handle glory. Even the ark is covered before transport. No human eyes are to stare upon it uncovered. This becomes important later in Israel's history when people disregard the holiness of God's presence. The wilderness is becoming a place of testing. Will Israel trust God enough to obey him carefully, or will they slowly drift into casualness and rebellion? That tension will come and continue growing throughout the book of Numbers. Now, what do these chapters show us? God prepares his people for both worship and warfare. Numbers 1 and 3. Every tribe, every person matters before God. 1 and 2. Different callings still serve the same purpose. 1 and 50. God's presence must remain central. 2 and 2. Holiness still requires reverence. 3 and 4. Substitution runs throughout Scripture. 3 and 12. Holy things must not be handled casually. 4 and 15. Now let's connect all of this across Scripture. The wilderness testing connects to Deuteronomy 8 and 2. Spiritual warfare connects to Ephesians 6 and 12. God dwelling among his people connects to Revelation 21 and 3. The Levite standing in place of the firstborn connects to substitution in Isaiah 53. Reference for holy things connects to Hebrews 28 and 29. Now, I encourage you to read Numbers chapter 1 through 4 in full. Y'all watch how God orders his people. Watch his presence remain central. Watch how the wilderness begins exposing hearts. And remember, God may bring his people out of bondage quickly, but learning to trust him deeply takes time. The story continues tomorrow.